Across the United States, a quiet but undeniable change has taken over the streets of many cities. It's visible in the clusters of tents under freeway bridges, in the tarps tied to chain-link fences, and in the rows of makeshift shelters stretching along sidewalks. These are not camping sites for weekend getaways. They are homes, fragile, temporary, and exposed, belonging to thousands of Americans who have nowhere else to go. In places like Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, Austin, Denver, and New York City, these tent encampments have become a defining image of urban America in the 2020s. The homelessness crisis has reached a point where it's no longer something you might stumble upon occasionally. It's part of the daily scenery for millions of residents. And yet, behind every tent is a story of loss, struggle, and resilience. The roots of this crisis run deep. Housing costs have exploded over the past decade, far outpacing wages. In cities like Los Angeles, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment can exceed $2,500 per month. Even in smaller cities, rising costs are pushing working families to the edge. For someone earning minimum wage, which in many states is still under $15 an hour, paying rent becomes nearly impossible without sharing crowded living spaces or skipping other essentials. When a job is lost, a medical bill arrives, or a relationship breaks down, many people find themselves just one step away from losing their home entirely. And when that step comes, the options are few: crowded shelters, living in a vehicle, or pitching a tent on whatever patch of ground they can find. In Los Angeles' Skid Row, thousands of people live in tents lined along blocks of cracked sidewalks. The smell of cooking fires, trash, and exhaust mixes in the air. Makeshift clotheslines stretch between poles, and people move through narrow pathways between shelters. Some residents have been here for years, while others arrived just weeks ago. Across the country in Portland, entire city parks have transformed into encampments. In San Francisco, tents are pitched against the walls of buildings in the Tenderloin district. In Austin, Texas, sprawling tent communities have appeared under highway overpasses, with mattresses laid on concrete and cooking pots balanced over small stoves. Each location looks different, but the feeling is the same: uncertainty, struggle, and survival. Life in a tent city is hard in ways that are difficult to imagine for those who have never experienced it. There's no insulation from the heat in summer or the cold in winter. When rain falls, it can soak through fabric walls and turn the ground into mud. Belongings must be packed away or risk being stolen when the occupant leaves for food, work, or a short walk. Sanitation is a constant challenge. Many encampments have no access to toilets, running water, or trash collection. People improvise. Some dig small pits, others use buckets or nearby alleys. Trash piles up, attracting pests and creating health hazards. Without a permanent address, simple tasks like applying for a job, receiving mail, or scheduling a medical appointment become nearly impossible. For many, this lifestyle was never a choice, but a last resort. Some lost homes after being laid off. Others fled abusive relationships. Veterans, once in service to their country, now sleep under bridges with worn blankets. Young adults who aged out of foster care often find themselves here with no safety net. Families with children try to keep some normalcy, sending kids to school in the morning before returning to a tent at night. In cities where public schools track homelessness, it's not uncommon to find hundreds of students without stable housing. Shelters, in theory, should be a solution, but the reality is more complicated. Many shelters have strict rules: curfews, bans on pets, and limits on personal belongings. Some people feel unsafe in crowded dorm-style rooms where theft and violence can occur. Others have been turned away due to lack of space. As a result, many prefer the relative privacy of a tent, even with all its risks. But this choice comes with a price. Cities often conduct sweeps of encampments, where police and sanitation workers dismantle tents and remove belongings. While officials say these actions are meant to clean up public spaces and connect people with services, in practice, they often leave residents with nothing, forcing them to start over somewhere else. Mental health struggles and addiction are part of the crisis, but they are not the whole story. Some people in tent cities are dealing with untreated depression, PTSD, or schizophrenia. Others use drugs or alcohol to numb the pain of daily life. Yet many are sober and mentally stable, simply unable to afford housing. The public often sees all homeless people as the same, but in reality, their stories vary widely. The one thing they share is the lack of a stable, safe home. Solutions have been tried, some with promise, others with little effect. Housing First programs, which prioritize giving people a home before addressing other issues, have shown success in certain areas. Tiny home villages provide small private living spaces with shared facilities, offering more stability than tents. Some cities have used hotels to temporarily house people, especially during extreme weather. But these efforts rarely match the scale of the crisis. For every person helped, there are dozens more waiting. The truth is, without addressing the deeper economic forces, skyrocketing rent, stagnant wages, lack of mental health care, the cycle will continue. The homelessness crisis is also a story about the changing face of poverty in America. It's no longer just those at the very bottom who are at risk. The working poor, seniors on fixed incomes, and young people starting out are all vulnerable. Inflation has driven up the cost of food, transportation, and utilities, making it even harder to cover rent. Meanwhile, developers continue building luxury apartments and high-end condos, leaving fewer units available at prices that average people can afford. Communities are torn over how to respond. Business owners worry about encampments scaring away customers. Residents want clean parks and safe streets. Advocates push for compassion, warning that criminalizing homelessness only pushes people further into danger. The tension between these viewpoints plays out in city council meetings, courtrooms, and neighborhood debates. In some cities, measures to ban camping in public spaces have passed, while others have declared homelessness an emergency and promised more housing. Yet despite all the talk, the tents remain. They stand in parking lots, along rivers, on vacant lots, and next to busy highways. They are a visible reminder that for all the wealth and opportunity America offers, many have been left behind. And as long as housing remains out of reach for so many, those tents will keep multiplying. Each one is more than fabric and poles. It's a fragile shield against the elements, a small claim to personal space, and a place to rest at night. Until there is a commitment to real, lasting solutions, the homelessness crisis will continue to grow. That means building affordable housing on a large scale, increasing access to mental health services, ensuring wages match the cost of living, and creating stronger safety nets for those in crisis. It also means treating the people in these tents with dignity, recognizing their humanity, and remembering that homelessness is not an identity. It's a situation. A situation that, for many, can be changed with the right support. The tents tell a story America cannot ignore. They speak of economic gaps, broken systems, and personal tragedies. But they also speak of endurance, survival, and the hope that one day things can change. Behind every tent is a person, someone's child, parent, friend, or neighbor. The question is whether America will choose to see them, hear them, and act before this crisis becomes an even more permanent part of the nation's landscape.